Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, we are once again recruiting AI to design us a Minecraft house. And then we will see if we can recreate it in Minecraft. I think that the city could really use a townhouse. Can you generate an image of a Minecraft townhouse? Please and thank you. I'd like to remind you that manners are very important. Oh, here we go. That's not what I was thinking of. I think the design of this is fine, but I think that the materials are a little bit wrong for the city. Let's see if we can adjust them a little bit. That's nice, but could you swap the materials to brick? I've never tried this before, let's see how they handle it. You know, that's clearly a different house, but it's close enough. I like the design, I like the materials, let's give it a try. Step 1, I have compiled all of the materials that I think that we will use throughout the build. We have stone bricks, black glass, oak, and all of these little oddments that I've thrown in this chest here. The townhouse is built on a foundation, so that means that we have to place a couple of rows of stone bricks before we start building the wall itself. We also have to figure out the width of each wall. I'm estimating that they're about 8 blocks wide. We also have to comfortably place both the bottom and top window. They are slightly different. The bottom windows don't seem to have any bricks below them, but the upper windows do. There's also a small window just underneath the roofline as well, which I'm also going to add. And of course, some windowsills for the planters. That does not look bad at all. So now we have kind of figured out this base design, we can adapt it to every single other part of the house. So just to the right of this, there is pretty much the exact same wall design. So we're just going to repeat this. Right of that, however, whilst we have the same size wall, we have two key differences. At the bottom half of the wall, we have the main entrance, which is a little trickier to place than I first imagined, but above it, we seem to have a set of patio doors that would lead us onto the balcony, which we also have to make, including the porch below it. The balcony has a glass barrier that goes all the way around it with wooden posts dispersed in between the glass. I initially wanted to use oak fence, but glass pane doesn't grip onto them, which is really unfortunate. I thought they did. So instead we do have to use oak planks, which is not my preference, but what are you gonna do? We also add a similar design to the porch as well, including a series of steps and hand railings leading down to the ground. I just noticed that these steps also connect to a stone flower bed just in front of the building, so we are also just going to mark that out whilst we are here. Before we start adding extra detail to the front of the house, I want to get the actual frame of the house built. So we move on to the side, we build the foundation, and we add these two sections of wall. The back part of the wall is actually identical to the very first section of wall that we made, which means that it has a window and a peak of roof at the top. I can't believe that I didn't notice this earlier, but there is actually another part of the roof that we're missing. It kind of sits right in the middle of the house, just kind of like in between the patio doors and the actual front left wall, and it's actually going to have to be a little bit higher than that, but we have a window and we have another roof section. So this is what I imagine to be a window for a loft, perhaps? We'll have to see when we start designing the interior. Regardless, it's not really difficult to integrate into the house, and I think it's just a good idea to also connect these two side roofs together just to help us bring a bit of shape to the build whilst we're working here. There also appears to be these decorative pieces of wood underneath the bottom corners of each part of the roof, but I'm using stone wall for this because it would be an absolute eyesore to use wood. Oh, and how could we forget the chimney? So now that we've made a large amount of the scene structure of the townhouse, we are going to add this decorative flower bed to the right side of the townhouse, which we have to fill in with grass. We also have to fill the original flower bed in with grass as well, and there are these like flower boxes as well dispersed in amongst the flower beds. I initially wanted to add signs around a rose bush, but they don't grip onto them, so trapdoors it is. Other than that, we're just going to bone meal the rest of the area. Okay, so on every single windowsill, there is a bunch of flowers. Originally, my idea was to add some flower pots and clad them with oak signs. Turns out, you can't do that. It doesn't seem like there's much you can do with oak signs these days. So instead, we're just adding a mixture of azure bluettes and poppies to them, and that'll do. We will also add hanging lanterns to the sides of the window frames as well. This leads us on to the front porch. First of all, I think that we need to rework the front door. I'm just adding a stone frame around it. This actually takes a little bit of experimentation. There is also clearly a potted plant in the corner of the porch and a small seating set, which I'm just using stone stairs and an oak sign for. We finally found a use for the sign. I also noticed that we had to amend the barriers by placing oak slabs along the top of the glass and the oak planks, and we of course have flower boxes attached to the balcony. The best thing that I could think of to replicate these was to add flower pots to the outside of the glass, fill them in with flowers, and then add oak trapdoors underneath. I just couldn't see another way of making these without making a real mess of the area. And I'm adding some hanging vines in between them as well, with barrier blocks to stop them growing too much. Oh, plus there's a stone path in front of the entire build. At this point, I think that we have successfully taken everything from the prompt that we possibly can. I don't think that we have left a detail unturned. There is one slight problem. We're missing the entire back of the house. Luckily, this build is really straightforward. I would imagine that the rest of the house is just a continuation of the same wall design over and over and over again. And as this is a townhouse, there wouldn't really be a back garden, and there certainly doesn't seem to be one from the prompt. So, using what we know already, we will apply the same wall design over and over and over again until we have, well, walls. I did notice that the flower bed does seem to continue onto the back of the house though, so we will wrap that around to the back. And that just leaves the roof, which is fairly simple to be quite honest. We just have to connect both of the sides together. The only little tricky part is at the top, where we have that central peak that is a little bit higher. But we'll just extend the stairs section inwards and curve them around to connect to each other, and then we'll just fill the top of it in. Nice and simple. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, I think that we have 100% completed the outside of the build. Look at this, I'm very happy. But if we intend on using this build in our city, we are missing one very important thing. The entire inside. Now, let's see if we can get a little bit of direction from ChatGPT. This often doesn't go well, but we're gonna try it. Could you also generate some images of how the interior of the townhouse should look? Okay guys, this isn't bad. There's a living room, a kitchen, actually seems to be two kitchens, a dining room, and that's great, but we're missing some rooms, so let's try our luck again. What about a bedroom / bathroom? Okay, it's working. Oh wait, hang on. It seems like I can't generate any more images right now. Please try again later. Let me know if there's anything else I can help with. Yeah, design me a bedroom and bathroom. Oh, I see. It wants us to pay for it. We'll come back later.
2 hours later.
And we're back. Alright, we're gonna try again. The suspense is killing me. That's not exactly what I was looking for. You know what, we're gonna try our best. I think that between these two prompts, I think that we can probably get most of the way there.
Many hours later.
After what some people may call an embarrassing amount of time, I have actually managed to put together an interior. Let's take a look. Because of the perspective, it's kind of hard to get the entire interior in just one view, but this is about as close as we can get to the reference image. I think it's pretty similar. We have the living room area and a kitchen, and we have some sort of miscellaneous goings-on behind the stairs. I'm not exactly sure what this is even meant to be due to the reference, but this is about as close as I could get. Funnily enough, the interior actually fit the build rather nicely, but we were left with this big empty space at the front of the build, so I added a wall and a small bathroom. So we have a bath, a toilet, and a sink, and just some storage and such. Moving upstairs, we had this... I don't even know what this area was meant to be quite honest, but I think that I've managed to replicate it rather nicely. Moving on through to the dining room now, which I'm pretty happy with. The only issue with the dining room is we didn't really get to see what was over this direction, and just as with down below, we were left with this dead space at the front part of the build, but this was an ideal location to add the bedroom, and let me see if I can get a good view for you. Once again, due to perspective, it's kind of difficult, but I think that I did a pretty good job in replicating this. I did have to change some things, but overall I'm pretty happy. It's very cozy in here. We even managed to keep these patio doors, which lead us out onto the balcony. I just had to swap which window we used. The townhouse is a little bit overscaled for my usual kind of build, but I'm pretty happy with it overall. And I think that that's it, ladies and gentlemen, which means there is one thing left to do. We must add our AI townhouse into our city. Which is a very easy task. We are simply going to add it into the AI portion of the city, right next to the AI suburban house. Once we have enough AI builds, we are going to make a really cool portion of the city. But for now, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this tutorial, please remember to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Also, consider becoming a channel member. You will gain access to loyalty badges, some fun emojis, and a monthly download for every single build used in our city. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.